Hey, it's Tuesday tea time with Dorina, and I want to welcome all the first time viewers and the replay viewers. We are presented from Women of Wisdom, a nonprofit organization established to empower teen girls and women with practical wisdom and confidence. We are here for you, okay? We are here to bridge that generational gap between the older and the younger generation, okay? Why? Because we need each other, okay? All right. So today, we have a exciting topic, and we are going to talk about um, our love language. And so, first of all, before we get started, let me do a little, give some people some time to join us. Okay, let's see. Okay, there we are. Okay, so today, I usually share with you, I'm drinking my tea, and I hope that you have your beverages as well. I know it's late, water's good, but I'm doing tea. Okay, so I just have regular Lipton tea today, and with my little bit of creamer in it. I like hazelnut and my honey. And so I have another cup, um, that was given to me. Isn't that cute? It's purple. So, tea time. Mmm. Ooh, this is good. Mmm. Taste that honey. Mmm. Love that honey. Okay, so I'm excited about our topic today. We're talking about love language. And I want to let you know that the material that I'm using, just in case you're interested in knowing, is Gary Chapman's book called The Five Love Languages. So this is where I got most of my information from. My husband, when he was taking his classes and everything, that was one of the classes that he had to take. And so he let me read the book, and I'm so glad I read that book. So if you haven't read it, it would be a good book to read, because you need to discover your love language. And if you're married, you need to know your spouse's love language, and you need to know your children's love language. That is so important, because then we'll know how to nurture them properly. Okay. So, all that is wisdom. And what is wisdom? Wisdom is the ability to use knowledge correctly. Okay. Okay. So, I kind of like sometimes to just kind of share some things with you. And so today, I want to share with you my recipe, since we coming up on Thanksgiving. So I want to share my homemade cranberry sauce recipe with you. Okay, so I wrote it down because I want to make sure I get it right. We don't want you coming up with no messed up cranberry sauce and then saying, Dorina made me do it. Okay, so I was sharing this with my daughter-in-law, and I thought, oh, you know what? I'm gonna share this on tea time. And so once I discovered this, oh my goodness, homemade cranberry sauce is good, and it's a lot healthier than buying it in the can. Okay, so what you do is you want to get like one bag of 12-ounce a whole cranberry, a bag of cranberries. Of course, you want to rinse them and clean them off, right? Okay, and so you're going to use a half a cup of water, a half a cup of orange juice, and a cup of sugar. And you just put that in the pot, let it boil until let it boil for a good while. And then put your cranberries in the pot. Now, your cranberries will start to pop. And once they start popping, just kind of let them cook until they get that thick consistency, almost like a gel. And then just put it in a safe, heated bowl, put it in the refrigerator for about 3 hours or until it chill, and then you're good. And if you don't like the cranberry, I like the cranberry pieces in it myself, but if you prefer not to have the cranberry pieces in it, then I would say strain it, okay? But you may want to double the recipe just so that you would get the amount of cranberry gel that you prefer. Okay. So that's my little a little tea time nugget for you for Thanksgiving for homemade cranberry sauce, okay? Because I'm making mine. All right. Okay, so like I said, today we are on the subject of love language. Oh my goodness, this so helped me with my relationship with my husband and my kids. And so we need to keep our emotional tank full, okay? And that's important, especially for us females, because we are primarily emotional people. Okay. Okay. So there's five of them, and number one is words of affirmation. I'm going to give you the five, and then we'll go over each individual one. Okay. Okay. Two is quality time. Three is receiving gifts. Okay, I'm want to give them to you in this order because that's how we're gonna touch on it. Okay, and four is acts of service, and number five is physical touch. Okay, so I want to go over this with you, give you a little information about it, and then I'm going to share with you a little bit about my discovery when I discovered what my love language was, and I will share that with you. Okay, so the object of love is not getting something you want. Okay, listen closely, but doing things for the well being of the one that you love. Okay, that's we're talking about love, we're talking about love language, and we're talking about expressing ourselves. This subject is really important because this will, whether you are a single mom, whether you are a single person, whether you are a mother, a wife, or whatever, this subject is very important, and you need to discover your love language and discover the love language of those that you live with or that you're in close relationship with, because it will make a total difference on how you relate to them and how they relate to you, because you know usually what you give you get. Okay. So words of affirmation is a powerful communication of love. It's a verbal compliment or words of appreciation. So if you are, okay, so what you're going to do, what you want to do is you want to write down all five of these love languages. And you want to discover what is your primary love language, and then categorize the four in their importance to you. Okay, and that'll help you discover what's important to you, where you at, what's your primary love language? What's your secondary love language? Because we usually have one and two. Okay, so I'm going to share with you my one and two, and then my least. Okay. Okay, so when it comes to affirmation, affirmation is, like I said, giving people compliments and things like that. Now, the negative side to that is that when we are not getting words of affirmation, words of encouragement, positive uh, feed in our hearts or our emotions, we that's the reason why a lot of times we have low self-esteem. And if you are around somebody that is demeaning you, and words of affirmation is your primary love language, that is so detrimental. And so that's why it's important for you to be around people that are saying the right things to you. And it's important that you affirm yourself. And, there's always going to be people that are going to say mean things. But if you know yourself, you do, like I said last week, I don't receive that. I know myself. I don't receive that. That is not who I am. Okay. And even if that's how you used to be, okay, I used to be like that, but I'm not like that anymore. Okay. That's how you do that. Okay. So that's words of affirmation. So you want to discover whether or not that's your primary love language. Okay. So it'll come to you as we continue. Okay. Now, quality time. Quality time, togetherness is togetherness, and it has to do with focus attention, not just, you know, being with somebody. It's that quality time of being with somebody. You know what I mean? You have their attention, they have your attention. That type of quality time. You're having quality conversations, and you're giving someone your undivided attention. Because today, you know, we'll be on the phone while somebody's trying to talk to us. And even though some of us may be multitastic, which some people say that really doesn't exist, but we try to do more than one thing at one time, and you're not giving your undivided attention. So we people that their primary love language is quality time, they want your undivided attention. So if you're like that, usually your love language is something that you are already doing your own self. It's something that you do for other people. So that'll kind of help you discover which one of these love languages is your primary one. Okay. Okay, let me read this to you. Relationships are not a project to be completed, because many of us are trained to analyze problems. So sometimes, because we're trained to analyze problems, we try to analyze our relationships. And quality time is not a time to analyze what a person is saying. It's a time to have those listening ears on and giving people your undivided attention, because that's how you show them that you love them. And that's the way they receive love. A lot of it has to do with your childhood and how you were um, emotionally treated when you were growing up. Like in my husband's family, they hug a lot and all this kind of stuff like that. So, as he developed, his primary love language is physical touch. Now he won't admit to that, but I know I'm right about it. And so with me, I wasn't you know, in a family where we just hugged a whole lot or things like that. So physical touch was really not all that important to me. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that later when once we get to physical touch. But you know, let's continue. Oh yeah, sympathetic listening with a view of understanding the other person's thoughts and feelings and desires. Do you require that? Is that what you want? Or is there somebody that's requiring that of you? If they are, then that's their love language. But if you're doing that, that's your love language. And we need to share that information with one another so that we'll know how to treat each other better, right? Okay, let's take a tea break. Tea time. Okay, let's move on to receiving gifts. Okay, I'll give you a sneak peek. Receiving gifts is my love, my primary love language. And I tell you something, it's so funny because I never even really realized that until after, once I started reading the book. I started seeing a lot of myself in the book. And I'm like, wow, okay, I didn't really realize, but I know I get excited. I get excited about receiving gifts and when I was growing up, my dad, he would the stuff that he would purchase for me, even like just lotion or stuff like that was um it wasn't like, Vaseline lotion. It was, the more expensive lotion, and the things that he gave me, it just was an expression of love to me. And so receiving gifts has been my love language. Now, what helped me discover that is that I love giving gifts and so that was part of what helped me discover that that was my love language because like I said, you usually like doing your love language. And so yeah. So receiving gifts, so that's a token of love. Okay, now like I told my family, I do like receiving gifts, but I still want to be treated right. You know what I'm saying? Gifts are nice, but if you're going to give me a gift and not treat me right, that still does not make up for the being treated right. You know what I'm saying? So I do love gifts, but I like to be treated right. Okay, so now this particular love language is the easiest love language to train yourself to do. Okay. I mean, it's, if somebody in your life is their love language is receiving gifts, it's easy to purchase gifts for them. But the key is to find out what they like. You know what I'm saying? It's not just giving any old kind of gift, but when you see what's important to them and you try to give them those things, that's a token of love. Okay. And if you're the type of person that you like giving gifts and it's important to you that you give gifts and give nice gifts and stuff like that, then probably your primary love language is receiving gifts. Okay. Okay. So, as the heart of love, the heart of love is the spirit of giving. Okay. Receiving gifts, visual symbols of love speaks loud to this person. Okay. So, you know, I went to breakfast with one of my friends this past weekend. I think it was Friday. And she brought me flowers. And I was like, oh my goodness, because I love flowers. And so, that was just, to me, that was her token of love for me. And I was just so, I still have them. You want to see them? I got them right here. Here's my flowers. Aren't they pretty? And then they got the purple on there. See what I'm saying about that? And look at the vase that well, it's my vase, but it goes. So you know what? You can tell that there was some thought put into this gift because most of my friends know that purple is my favorite color. And so that meant a lot to me. Pretty indeed. Thank you, Cindy. So yeah. And let's take a pause for just a minute because I want to let you know that next week we are going to talk about jealousy and envy, a divisive tool among women. So that's going to be our next tea time next week. So you're not going to want to miss that because we really need each other and we need to stop allowing, jealousy and envy to divide us when we really need one another. And there's no reason to be jealous or envious of one another if we have value for the uniqueness of who we are ourselves. Okay. So that's important. Okay. So let's move on to love language number 4. Okay. Which is acts of service. Okay. Now, this is one of my husband's love language because he just really likes me doing stuff for him. He just like, I don't know if it's his. I be telling him, I don't know. You just trying to get me to do stuff for you or what? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, acts of service, but that's not his primary love language. Okay, you seek to please by serving. You seek to please by serving. If you're the type of person that you seek to please by serving, then acts of service is probably your primary love language. Well, what that means is you yourself like to be served. And when someone's doing something for you, whether they're washing your car for you or your dishes or whatever they're doing for you, that's a token of love to you. Okay. If done with a positive heart, okay, it is an expression of love. Okay. So let me interject this. Okay. Request gives request gives direction to love, but demand stop the flow of love. Okay. That means love cannot be demanded. We can request things because, for one thing, love is always freely given. Isn't that good? Love is always freely given. It's not a demand. If you have to demand something, that is not love. Okay. So, love expresses itself. I'm giving to you because I love to give to you, not because you're demanding it. You can request it, but that's a different thing. Okay. Let's take another tea break. Tea time. I know one thing, this tea with this creamer in it and the honey is really good tonight. Okay. So so that should give you an idea about whether or not your love language, primary love language is acts of service or not. Okay. Okay, so here we come to our last love language, and this physical touch. Okay. So physical touch can make or break a relationship. Okay. It communicates hate or love. Wouldn't you agree with that? Touching somebody, depending on how you touch them, is an act of, love or hate. But if your love language is physical touch, that, if you like someone to just kind of, touch your hair or just kind of, rub you or something like that, physical touch is your primary love language. Okay. Some people go right to, thinking about, oh yeah, sex. No, that's not. I'm getting ready to share something with you about that. That's not what it's all about. Okay. So your tender touch will be remembered. A tender touch will be remembered. But your failure to touch will never be forgotten. And you know what? Oh my goodness. You know, my Okay, so I told you I was going to tell you this, which I kind of leaked out some of the information ahead of time anyway. But, my primary love language is, you know, receiving gifts. My secondary love language is quality time. Now, my husband, primary love language is physical touch. Do you know that physical touch was the last one on my list? And so when it came to, I was lacking to show him emotional love, because we're talking about emotional, meeting that emotional need of love, having that emotional love tank full. So you can see where I was failing when it came to that, because, physical touch was not important to me. And so, but once I read the book and I found out that that was his primary love language, that changed a lot in our relationship. And he discovered mine, I discovered his, and it changed our relationship. And then what I started doing was I started looking to see which primary love language is in each one of my kids. And started to discover how to relate to them in their love language. And I could see where, you know uh where I had not given them what they needed. Yes, this is my love language. Okay, Aisha. And so yeah, and so I was lacking in giving my children the proper love language, emotional love that they needed, because I didn't know nothing about love language. I knew nothing about uh you know helping my children emotional love tank being full. And so, once, man, if you discover that and your kids are still young, start applying that right now, because it's very important for their self-esteem and how they relate as they get older in relationships. So you can help them with that. But I wanted to share this with you about this. Really helped me a lot when I found out this information about physical, or let's say sexual relations with your spouse. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm saying it like that is because wisdom will tell you that it's better for you to wait, to have that type of relationship with someone than to jump ahead. And there are some really deep, deep mysteries that go along with that. And all the way to covenant, breaking covenant, you know, when you're consummating your relationship. in a marriage. And outside of a marriage, we talked about soul ties, connecting with people um, that you're being sexually involved with, and leaving a part of yourself with that person. So it's very important that you understand all these things and apply them, because wisdom is speaking to you now. I'm not calling myself wisdom, I'm talking about the words that I'm speaking. And so we don't want to get that wrong. Okay, so listen to this. Okay, males, sexual desire is physically based. Okay, some of you may already know this. It is stimulated by a buildup. So I'm not giving you all the medical terms of some of these things, but you just need to understand the simplified version. Okay, it stimulate is stimulated by a buildup. Okay, it's a physical push for release. So they have a physical desire inside of them that pushes them to release, you know, uh, to have a release. Okay. So the male's desire for sex has a physical root. Okay. I'm telling you, when I discovered that, it made a difference to me, because it helped me to not feel like, all he wants is, or all she wants, because some women have a higher drive. Most men do, but there are some women that have a high sexual drive. And but listen to this. Okay, the female desire is rooted in her emotions. Okay, not her physiology. She needs to feel loved, admired, and appreciated. So without the emotional closeness, she may have little physical desire for sex. I mean, come on. At a time in life when me and my husband was not aware of this information, we were not um, meeting each other's emotional love tank. We were not filling it up. And, even if you have had, um, you know, a relationship that been kind of shady or whatever, take this information, turn it around, ask for forgiveness for one another, even with your kids and everything, and explain to them this information and start applying it in your relationships, and you'll start seeing things turn around, because it has turned around for me. Now it's like I touch him, and just to be touching him. And sometimes he'll say to me, because he be joking around. He said, "I don't need that." I'm like, "Yes, you do. Yes, you do." And he buy me flowers, and he buys me good gifts, and even quality time that we spend together. I have most of the time his undivided attention. And I try to do acts of service. I try to do things for him, and massages, shoulders and back, and things like that, because it's all about having the right relationship. you know and you can't really have that right relationship, or that really good relationship, without really knowing yourself, and without really knowing the person that you are in relations with. One of my sons, one thing I really like about him is he really pays attention to the things that people like. And usually if he gives Christmas gifts, he usually, you can tell that the gifts that he gave is based off of um, him knowing what you like, not just picking out something because, you know, he thinks you need it. He picks out things that he know you would like. And I that has really helped me, to think the same way, And so, that type of thing is important. And so I wanted to share that with you tonight, and I hope that you start applying, what you're learning about the five love languages. And again, like I said, most of the information I got it from this book, Gary Chapman, The Five Love Languages, and it's a good read. It's a good read. And so I recommend that book. And okay, so we are, let's see if there's anything else I wanted to share with you before we go. Oh, yeah, we can't pass this up. Okay, there's some questions that I wrote down that will help you. Okay, so you want to ask yourself, what is your primary love language? Okay, and what makes you feel most love out of the five? What makes you feel most love? Okay, number three, what do you desire above all else? What do you desire above all else? Number four, what does others do or say? Now, that's the first three is on a positive note. This one's on a negative note because we need to look at the positive and negative, be balanced. Okay. Okay. So, what does others do or say or fail to do or say that hurts you deeply? That will help you understand and know what your love language. That means that it's not being met. And so you can discover, oh, okay, this is the reason why I'm feeling like this is because this emotional need in my life is not being met. Okay, this is what it is. Share it with them. Okay, so write down what you think is your primary love language. And then again, list them, list the other four in the order of importance. Okay. Because you know what? You want to love people in their love language, and you want to be loved in your love language. So that's what we have for tonight. I hope that you have gained knowledge and wisdom in what was shared tonight. And remember, next week we're going to talk about jealousy and envy, a divisive tool among women. So that's going to be really good because you know what? We need to stop all this, divisiveness among us because we really need each other. And I always say this, and I'll probably say it again, who can teach another woman like another woman? Who can touch another female like another female? And you know what? The young people have something to say, and the older people have something to say. And we need to listen to each other because wisdom does not have an age. And we older women do not need to be thinking that the young whippersnapper can't teach us anything. That's just pride, okay? You can learn something from a fool if it's nothing but how not to be one, okay? You got old fools and young fools, okay? So, we need each other and we need to help each other do life together the right way, okay? All right. So I want to thank you for joining us tonight. This is Dorina with Tuesday Tea Time. And remember, always, I love you and walk in wisdom. Good night.